High quality cassava flour is a very, very delicate product, and it needs to be produced in a fairly highly controlled environment for it to find its use at the targeted end use markets. We are going to follow through the process of high quality cassava flour production, and lead us through this process is Dr. Adebayo Abbas, the coordinator of the cassava value chain based at the IIT office in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And the trainees that are involved are from the farm associations of PATA in Parisa district, and SOSPA in Soroti district, and PICWI in Bukelia district of Eastern region.
Right from the point of harvesting to milling. So you have to harvest carefully, ensure that you do not cause so much damage that could speed up the rate of spoilage. When you bring your cassava to the processing center, you still have to select those that are damaged. You remove them. Those that are damaged might contaminate the rest, and so you have to keep them apart. Now, to determine how much you have spent, you must know the cost of your raw material and the amount of raw material that you started with. That is the essence of weighing your cassava before you start peeling. The knives that you are using to peel must be neat, no rust. But you have to make sure that you do not remove the flesh. Yes. You remove only the peel. And you have to do it carefully to ensure that you do it thoroughly, to ensure that all the dust you remove, spoiled parts you remove, and you have some roots that you are going to process. Okay? But remember that you are also working against time. So you have to do it quickly. Do it thoroughly, but do it quickly. Because at the end of the day, you are still going to dry in the sun. Now let's go and grate. Okay. Grating requires very critical assessment of your grating machine before you put your roots. Yeah. Your grating machine should be what? Should be washed. You make sure that there are no contaminants. Yeah. All right? Yeah. Because you have washed your machine, you have washed your root, now you put your cassava in there and then you grate. As you are grating, make sure that you have your clean bag ready. And you put down there, your cassava mash goes straight into it. Apart from that, your bag should not be put on the floor. It has to be inside a clean container. All right? To avoid what? To avoid contamination. All right? So that is what we are going to do now. Or this operation that we have done helps you to remove water, to remove cyanide, and by removing water you'll be able to dry faster, dry your material faster than if you were drying whole roots. All right?
Yes.
So this operation is very critical in high quality cassava flour production. It has to be done properly. Okay? We wash our machine immediately after grating. You don't leave it on like that. If you leave it without washing, it will ferment on it, and that will contaminate your next batch of cassava that you are. So what I would like us to do now is to divide this mash in 10 to 15 kg.
10 to 15.
Yes, per bag. Okay, and then you put the bags on top of each other. You can have up to 10, all right? But if you just leave 50 kg or 40 kg of mash in a single bag, it will be difficult to remove the water. And as much as you try to force the water out, you might lose your bag. It will just burst out quickly. So you just watch the way I will do it. Now you see this is 14 kg. It's a lot easier to handle 10 kg than 14. You see how they're almost of the same size.
Yes.
Okay? So now we have to put the planks on top. Once this gets to the lower limit, it won't go down anymore. So in this situation, we have to look for more planks to put on top to raise the level of this bar before you then screw down to be able to remove your water quickly.
This one is a bit thick again.
Now, see the water going out there? What you do, particularly in this case, you could dig a pit there.
Yes.
Concrete pit.
Yes.
So all the water coming out from this area will go into that pit for a whole day. The following day, you run it. Each day in the morning before you start processing, you allow the wastewater to run off. Then you get another batch of wastewater. You leave there till the next day. You allow the water to go. Because within the period of 24 hours, degradation of the starch would have occurred. The level of cyanide would have reduced. Okay? And so if you run that water off, that water is safer than fresh water going straight underground. There are two ways to do this. You can either use your sieve or you put the cake back into that grating machine, and then the grating machine will do the granulation for you, and then coming back here, the sifting will be easy. It will be very fast. Okay? Now, who can tell me why we have to sieve before drying?
Those big particles, which means
big lumps.
Yes.
Big lumps.
Yes.
You have to remove them before you dry.
Yeah.
Why do you have to remove the big lumps?
They take long to dry.
They take longer time to dry than the small particles. Okay, so good. Now, shall we do the sifting? See? Okay, and do it. See how fast it's going. Right? That is it.
Yeah.
It took you just about 3 minutes to do that.
Yes.
And she can save more than 5 minutes here also. Okay. Make sure that you don't overload drying platform, and make sure you just spread your granules very thinly on the drying sheet. granules are well dried, you can pack in bags and keep in your store until you are ready to mill. Okay, now if you are able to achieve this within 24 hours, you are okay. That way you will be able to maintain the white color. As long as you cannot dry completely within 24 hours, please don't call that material high quality cassava flour. If you fail to dry completely within 24 hours, that material will begin to ferment and it will have some amount of acid. And that's why after fermentation your food becomes sunny. You know, that little amount of lactic acid in the flour will not let the bread that they want to bake, it will not allow the bread to rise. And for bread bakers, that increase in volume is critical. All right? Yes. So that is why you should never supply cassava flour that was not properly dried and that was not dried within 24 hours to bread bakers. Otherwise, you will spoil their market and invariably spoil your own market. They will not come back to buy from you. They might even decide not to use high quality cassava flour anymore because you would have told them that you supplied them high quality cassava flour. Meanwhile, what you supplied them was already fermented and not suitable for bread baking. So they will just assume high quality cassava flour is not good and they will not buy high quality cassava flour anymore from anybody. So you would have spoiled market for everybody.
Yeah.
You see, that's the danger. So for you, as an association, you just have to make sure that every member complies with the procedure for producing high quality cassava flour. Otherwise, a single batch of cassava flour supplied to end users might spoil the market for the whole group.